Zhu Yuanzhang, also known as the Hongwu Emperor, was the founder of the Ming Dynasty, a man who rose from a life of poverty and hardship to establish one of the most powerful and long-lasting dynasties in Chinese history. Born into a peasant family, Zhu experienced firsthand the devastation caused by famine, war, and government corruption during the waning days of the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty. These early experiences profoundly shaped his ruling philosophy, particularly his deep distrust of the elite, and led to one of the most draconian legal systems in Chinese history. After toppling the Yuan dynasty and ascending to power in 1368, Zhu Yuanzhang's rule was marked by an obsession with maintaining control and eradicating any threat to his authority. While the Hongwu Emperor is credited with stabilizing China, reviving agriculture, and promoting Confucianism, his reign is equally remembered for its harsh legal codes and brutal enforcement of laws. Zhu's vision for his dynasty was clear. He sought to restore order, discipline, and stability in a country that had been ravaged by internal strife. He believed that to accomplish this, a strong hand was required to enforce law and order. His early life as a beggar and monk had instilled in him a deep resentment for the aristocracy and corrupt officials. When Zhu Yuanzhang took the throne, he vowed to stamp out corruption, laziness, and disobedience among his subjects. Zhu viewed the state as an extension of a strict Confucian family model, where the emperor was the stern father and the people were his children. In his view, a disciplined, obedient population was essential for maintaining harmony. He, therefore, established a legal system that left no room for leniency or mercy, and his laws were designed to instill fear and unquestioning loyalty. Zhu Yuanzhang's laws were infamous for their severity, and his punishments were often extreme, even for minor offenses. Crimes that in other dynasties might have been considered small infractions were treated with utmost severity under the Hongwu Emperor. Laziness, incompetence, or even failure to adhere strictly to social roles could lead to death or mutilation. One of the most startling aspects of Zhu Yuanzhang's legal system was his focus on punishing laziness. During the rebuilding of the post-Yuan China, agriculture and hard work were critical for sustaining the empire's economy. Zhu believed that laziness, particularly among the peasants and bureaucrats, threatened the very foundation of the empire. As a result, punishments for those deemed lazy or unproductive could range from public beatings and floggings to execution in extreme cases. There are even records of entire families being punished if one member was accused of slacking off in their duties. Zhu's hatred for corrupt officials was another driving force behind his harsh legal measures. He believed that corrupt officials were a major reason for the collapse of previous dynasties, and he was determined to root out any sign of it in his administration. Officials who accepted bribes or failed to carry out their duties with precision were often tortured or executed. Some were boiled alive, flayed, or beheaded. His famous saying, "Kill the chicken to scare the monkey," reflected his belief that public, brutal punishment of corrupt individuals would serve as a deterrent for others. Zhu's laws also extended to collective punishment. Entire families, villages, or bureaucratic units could be punished for the actions of a single individual. This created a culture of fear and distrust, as people were forced to report on each other to avoid being implicated in another's crime. In one infamous case, an official failed to report grain shortages in his jurisdiction, and not only was he executed, but his entire family was wiped out to set an example. The Hongwu Emperor imposed strict codes of conduct for bureaucrats and scholars, enforcing rules that governed everything from personal morality to administrative performance. Bureaucrats were not allowed to engage in immoral activities or display signs of arrogance or laziness. Failure to comply could lead to public flogging, exile, or execution. Some laws even stipulated specific behaviors, such as how often officials had to review and organize their documents, with violations resulting in harsh punishment. In 1385, the Hongwu Emperor compiled the Da Ming Lu, or the All-Great Ming Code, which became the cornerstone of the Ming Dynasty's legal system. While the code itself incorporated traditional Confucian values, its enforcement under Zhu was characterized by ruthlessness. The code addressed a wide range of crimes, from treason to moral failures, and prescribed severe punishments even for what might be considered minor infractions. Zhu took a hands-on approach to governance, personally reviewing cases and often sentencing offenders with extreme measures. Executions, public floggings, and exile were common, as Zhu believed that fear was the key to maintaining control. Perhaps the most feared aspect of Zhu's rule was his network of spies and informants. Paranoia ran high, with the emperor suspecting plots against his rule from both the aristocracy and his own court. His response to any perceived threat was swift and brutal. Thousands of officials and their families were purged during his reign, including close advisors whom he had once trusted. While Zhu's harsh laws helped stabilize China in the short term, they also created an atmosphere of fear and resentment. His obsession with loyalty and obedience turned the court into a dangerous place, where officials lived in constant terror of falling out of favor. Bureaucrats became cautious, often avoiding making decisions or taking risks out of fear that even a minor mistake could lead to their death. Despite these downsides, the Hongwu Emperor's legal reforms did succeed in establishing a strong, centralized government. The Ming Dynasty under his rule expanded its territory, revitalized agriculture, and strengthened its economy. Zhu's harsh measures did bring about a certain degree of stability, and his efforts to root out corruption were partly successful. Zhu Yuanzhang's harsh laws left an indelible mark on Chinese legal history. His ruthless enforcement of discipline and order, while ensuring the stability of the early Ming Dynasty, also laid the groundwork for future autocratic rulers. The strict legal codes remained a part of Ming governance long after his death, though later emperors would soften some of the more extreme measures. Ultimately, Zhu's legacy is one of contrasts. He is celebrated as the peasant-turned-emperor who restored China to greatness after the fall of the Yuan dynasty, yet he is also remembered as a ruler whose obsession with control led to widespread fear and suffering. His harsh legal system, driven by paranoia and an uncompromising desire for absolute obedience, serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power.